What if your life's purpose isn't something you have to find, but something that you're already living? It's a question that completely changes the way you think about happiness, fulfillment, and even the idea of success. Let's dive in. Welcome to How to Be a Person, a podcast about life with me, your host, Giuliano. Sarah, thanks so much for joining me today. How's it going?
Good. Yeah, I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you. I'm excited for our conversation. So for me and people listening, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and we'll go from there?
Yeah, I don't know why I paused there. I don't know where to start.
You're like, that's kind of a broad question.
Yeah, Sarah Collins. I have trained as a civil engineer, or I've been a civil engineer in the industry for over 20 years. Always knew I didn't like it, but it's what society made me believe, that status and moving up, making more money should bring happiness. And yeah, I went through my own kind of self-awareness process through the past 8 years and realized I like helping people, and I think I naturally do that. So that's where I am now.
Yeah, interesting.
Went through a life coach course, and I'm sure still finding myself, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that's like a lifelong thing anyway,
Yeah.
So you said that you were a civil engineer for 20 years. Is that what you said?
Yep. I mean, I'm still doing it part-time.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But yeah.
So it was about 8 years ago, though, that you decided you didn't want to keep doing it?
I mean, I always knew I wanted to leave engineering school back when I was 18. My mom convinced me to stay. I ended up getting my master's kind of because I was bored at work and I didn't know what else to do. And yeah, my husband's a civil engineer, so we kind of had that in common. And for the longest time, I intuitively knew there was something else that I was going to do, but I just didn't know what. It was kind of like so close, but out of reach. Spent so much money and time searching for what's my purpose through those years. What does purpose mean? And it hasn't been until recently where it's like, my purpose is just to be present every day, and everything that happens in that day is my purpose at that moment.
Interesting. Do you feel like that's true for everyone? Like, I'm not saying that maybe they don't think that right now, but like, do you believe that ultimately that is our purpose, is just to exist in this moment?
Yeah. Most people, I mean, there's a lot of people who make money off of helping people find their purpose.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to the deepest truth, then yes, it's to really, I mean, I think I've heard you say this moment is the only moment we have.
Yeah.
I feel like what we kind of talk about is very similar in a sense. And it's so simple, but so hard to explain.
Yeah, totally. I think it was funny you say that, because that's exactly the conclusion I've come to as well, is that like the only thing we have is right now. And so what that means then, because I feel like that's just like everyone's normal path, right? Like if they're going down like the standard, like this is what society tells you to do, but you feel like this just doesn't fit. Like I feel like there's more to life. I feel like that is the path you go down. It's like, so what am I supposed to do, right? Like what is my purpose? What's the thing that's gonna, light me up and make me feel fulfilled? And I think everyone kind of goes down that, right? And you go and you start searching and you're reading all these books and taking courses and trying to understand like what you're supposed to do. And it does seem to me that the end result, you get to the end of the path and it's just like, the whole point is to just do it, right? It's just be here and like live your life,
Yeah. And I've never I guess said this out loud, but I went through this awakening process.
Okay.
And I think I don't like to say that because I put people on a pedestal who had an awakening, who
Mm,
realized everything. And there's nothing about that that is true. Um, and it was just kind of a realization of like what this life is. And I did go through the process of like where you hear these gurus say, like, that's what dying is.
mm,
Like, I literally would wake up for an entire night and feel like I was physically dying, is the best way to explain it.
really?
But it was like this thing was leaving me. And I don't know why I'm so nervous to talk about this. I've never told anybody this.
Okay.
I mean, I've maybe mentioned to a few friends.
Okay.
Um, but through that process, you just start to realize, like, almost like, what's the point of everything?
Mm,
And it's almost like you start or you go back to where you started. That, like, you're
mm,
just living life. And that's the beauty of life. It's, yeah, everything in this moment, and that's all we have. And stressing about the past and worrying about the future or vice versa um, is what keeps us kind of in those attachments of how we think life should be.
mm. Yeah, it's funny. I've heard people use the term awakening before, and I think for me, I feel like I can't say like that, oh, I've had some awakening or whatever. But I feel like I say all the same things that those people say.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, after my awakening, this is what I realized. And I'm like, oh, like that's what I say all the time. I'm like, did I have an awakening? I just
Yeah.
didn't realize it. Oh, it makes me laugh because I'm like, I didn't have some crazy experience, but I do feel like I reached this point where you go like, oh yeah, like none of this is real, and there's none of this really has a point, but that's not a bad thing either, right? Like I remember,
Mm-hmm.
being, like a teenager, it's like you have similar realizations, right? Where you're like, oh, it's all stupid, it's all made up, doesn't mean anything. But it's like it's a different attitude to it. It's more like, oh, it's almost like when you're playing a game and you're like, I'm having fun and maybe I'm nervous, right? Like there's this video game that I play, and it's like I don't know what you would call it, like a fighting game or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like when your character's gonna die, like they're getting low on energy, and stuff's happening, and someone punches you or does whatever, and you're like you feel it, like you get nervous and you tense up, and you're like, ugh, but you also know it's just a game, right? And so it's like you can allow yourself to like get into it, and I do, like I really get into it, but you also in the back of your mind know, yeah, but it's just a game, so who cares? And
Yeah.
that's like where I feel like I've come to, and that's what I mean about like that nothing really mattering. It's not that I don't enjoy it or that I don't even like partake in the feelings of life, right? I do, absolutely, but also I feel like in the back of my mind I'm like, but none of this really matters anyway. I just get to enjoy this whole experience.
Yeah. I mean, there's still emotions that come up and all those things, but then it's the realization, like, oh, but that's not truly who I am.
Mm,
That's just kind of what's arising and what is happening in this moment. But it's not who I truly am. It's not, I guess, real, but that's not even the right way to say it, because it is real in a sense that it's happening right now,
yeah. But
but
it's
it's
also
not
just as real
true.
as the video game, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like, yes,
Yep.
it's causing an emotional reaction in me, and it is something that is actually happening. So it is real,
Yeah.
but it's like the implications of it are not real, right? Like when I'm looking at it from that analogy, it's like I'm just playing a video game. Like when I'm done with this, the video game turns off and I continue to exist outside of it. And that's kind of what it feels like is the same with reality as well, right? Reality, where it's
Yeah.
just like, oh,
Yeah.
like we live this and we have these experiences, and like you said, these emotions like come through us and we like experience them, but in the end it doesn't. It's like, oh well, it's cool, I'm gonna exist no matter what happens with this game.
Yeah. And I always hear the reference to a dream. A dream feels
Mm,
so real when you're in a dream
yeah.
and you're creating everything in the dream,
Mm.
and
Ooh,
then you
that's like
kind of
actually a
wake
good
up from it.
analogy. That's a great
Yeah.
analogy because it's great because people always talk about how we create our own reality, and you're always like, but how? Right? I don't
Yeah.
quite understand. But in a dream, I think everyone can relate to that. Like you're in a dream, and if you know what you believe about dreaming is that it's your brain making stuff up, then
Hmm.
like obviously like you are creating it, right? And like it's so funny you say that about dreams because this morning I woke up and I was like, man, it's so crazy. I feel like over time my dreams have become like so much more real to me. Like not just
Hmm.
that it's not like I remember them in depth when I wake up, but I feel like when I've woken up I'm like, what just happened? That was so real. Like I thought that was real, you know? And then you wake up and you remember everything else and you're like, yeah, I don't know, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that analogy of a dream. Because, yeah, when you had mentioned that people are like, well, how do we create our reality? Like,
Mhm.
what's going on right now? And it's like in a dream, you're not thinking of how to create the reality. It's
Mm.
being created, and you're the experiencer in the reality that you're creating in that dream.
Mm. Yeah, it's such a good way to explain how we're creating our reality
Yeah.
because it's like literally it feels like the exact same thing, but like in a way that people can easily digest. Right. If someone's like, yeah, clearly, right, like you're creating it because it's coming from your brain, but like you also don't always have control over it. You're just experiencing it.
Hmm.
Interesting. And what's funny too is when okay, actually, it's even better analogy because then when you realize you're dreaming, then you can control the dream.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Oh man. Okay, so I want to hear more about this awakening and like how you would describe like what that looked like what led to it, and then what that experience was actually like.
Yeah. Where to start? Um, I don't know. I just followed a lot of like teachers. I guess the main ones like Adyashanti, Rupert Spira, or however you pronounce his last name, Eckhart Tolle. And I always knew like, what are they talking about?
Mm,
Like, I can understand the words, but deep down, I knew that there was some truer meaning that I wanted to know. This
mm.
little separate me wanted to know. Um, and then I got into non duality. I don't know if you've heard of non duality
I
at
feel like I've
all.
heard the words, but I don't know what it means.
Okay. It's more of a radical idea of we're in duality, and the true meaning of everything is a single thing, non duality. And in
Okay.
order to experience duality, we need the human experience
Oh, okay. Is
to
this
see
like the
multiple
whole idea
things.
that like we're essentially God experiencing itself?
Yeah.
Because you can't experience yourself if you're the only thing that exists, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
And it's similar. I thought about it this morning. Um, like trying to explain this is very hard because what is being explained is from, I guess, the creation, which that I don't like that word. And it's similar to we can see, but we cannot look at our eyes. I mean, yes, through a mirror,
Uh,
but we could never look at our own eyes.
yeah.
Um, and now I'm trying to remember where I was going with that.
I mean, that's also a
But
great analogy, though. Like, that's perfect. I mean, that's actually a great way to explain the duality, non-duality. It's like if you're
yeah.
the only thing that exists, like even if you have the means to be able to have senses, there's nothing else to sense, and like you can only see outwards. That's yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty interesting. And but there's nothing there because you're the only thing.
Yeah. And then, like, getting into duality is created by thoughts and language. Because without something to explain a difference or a thought to explain a difference, then there would be no separation.
Okay.
And I've talked to my husband about this and he still doesn't get it. So it's hard to like explain.
Okay.
So, anyways, I listen to books. I've probably listened to over 50 books, hours, hundreds of hours of videos on YouTube. And like searching. And it wasn't like I couldn't say that I wanted to search. It was just a drive in me that like needed more. And then, yeah, one night I was listening to a radical non duality video, and all of a sudden there was something in me that, like, almost like a spark, but not a good spark.
Mm.
Because it was like a release of, I guess, what you call ego, a belief that, like, we are the separate thing.
Okay.
Um, and just like a click of like, oh my gosh, that's what it was. And then all I can explain is that like my internal emotions were trying to grasp onto something that wasn't there anymore. That like I
Oh.
could see it leaving. And
Whoa.
like I'd wake up kind of in a panic through the night of like, I don't know what's going on. Um, and I truthfully can't tell you what happened the weeks following that. It was just
Like you don't remember, you're saying?
not that I mean, I have a really, really bad memory. So,
Okay.
but it was just like kind of, you slowly start coming back to like only living in this moment and noticing things happening. And slowly, still the breakdown of this like ego of like, the separate me that has to do these certain things for me to be happy. And
Mm.
yeah, I don't.
Interesting. I can definitely say I did not have an experience like that.
I mean, all the teachers that I've followed have said, like, I mean, not everyone's going to have an experience like that. And then deep down, there's like, it ends up being, there is nothing that this me experienced different than anybody else, because in the deepest sense, it is just one.
Hmm.
So it's just like a different experience happening that was experienced through this human body.
Interesting. So, well, and I was thinking too, is that like, does it kind of matter if you had some like epic experience if you come to the same conclusion anyway, you know?
I mean, in the end, it doesn't matter.
Right? Because if it is actually, here's what's really funny. If it really is actually about just existing in this moment, then it's like you said, you kind of go back. It's almost like you go back to like being a baby, you know,
Yeah.
because the kids like they just don't like they're not thinking about the future. They're not even thinking about the past. You know what I mean? Like, they're just existing right now, um, and I think too, it's yeah, it's funny. It's like you almost like become this person who like other people would be like would call you stupid, you know, not you, but like I'm saying you or me or like anybody who's just like, oh, I just exist right now. You're like, that's so stupid. What are you talking about? Like, don't you have bills to pay? And what about this in the future? And like, how can you say that something in the past didn't happen? Like, of course it happened, blah, blah, blah. You're like, okay, but like, is it happening right now? And if no, then like it doesn't exist, you know? Um, I don't know. I feel like that's the conclusion that I've come to is I say this coming from someone who has been through some stuff and who also hopes to go through some very positive things in the future, right? Like, of course, I want my future nows to be great, and I'm very aware. I have memory of my past nows, but like, I would love like ultimately everything that's happening right now is the only thing that's happening. So like technically all those things are also happening right now because there is no such thing as like time anyway. Um, but even if that were true, it's like the things that happened back then, they're gone already, you know? And like they only exist if I let them exist.
Yeah, they exist because you bring them back into this current moment.
Mm. Yeah, I heard this quote where someone said that it was like someone exists up until the last time someone says their name. Something I don't remember. It was something along those lines, right? That like after you die, like you only continue to exist until like the last person the last time someone says
Hmm.
your name out loud. And it was like, oh, obviously I don't believe that, but I think it's kind of it's similar, like similar
Yeah.
concept to what we're talking about, that even something that happened is like, does it even exist if you never, and this is the thing, it's not about like avoiding the feelings of the experience. It's not
Yeah.
about like trying to stuff it down or forget it. It's just literally like actually acknowledging that it just doesn't exist anymore. Like there was a moment that when you were having that experience, yes, but that moment is gone and you're not having that experience now. So like therefore it's not even real. It's not even the only way that it carries any weight is whatever weight you give it, right? In your thoughts and the emotions that you continue to live through it and all of those things.
Yeah. It We try to push down things that happened in the past,
Mm.
emotions. And I guess this goes back to like an energetic aspect. I often say, like, the more you try to ignore emotions and try to say, I don't want to deal with that right now, or push them down, even say, that shouldn't be happening. I shouldn't be thinking this. Um, they'll come up eventually, kind
Mm.
of energetically. They
Yeah.
will come up, probably way worse than when you pushed them down.
Yeah. So true. If you're enjoying the show and want to support, go to howtobeaperson.co and click support the show. The more support the show gets, the more episodes can be produced. Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I feel like that's one of the things that people always say when I say something like this, is that like you're just trying to ignore it or push it down. It's like, that's not what I'm saying at all. If anything, I actually think that by not ignoring it and by
Hmm.
feeling those feelings and fully feeling and like existing in the experience, that's what allows you to move past it. Cause it's almost like it requires it. It's like,
Hmm.
this is happening and these emotions are here and they're real and they need to like go through you. And if you don't let them flow through you and you hold on to them, like you're going to hold on to them until you let them go flow through you. Like they're going to just continue to be there. But like,
Yeah.
if you let them flow through you, you have the experience, like the emotional highs or lows or whatever it is, and you fully actually experience it, then that's just gone. Like you remember it. Like that's how I think about like my past experiences, these like quote unquote bad experiences. I can like visually, like I can put myself back in the place and like run it like a movie in my head. Like I remember it, but like I don't have a feeling about it. Like it's not like there's something in me that's like, oh man, it makes me sad or it makes me mad or anything like that. It's just not there anymore. Um, which to be honest, I feel like is like the best place to be, because then you can actually look at those experiences and like learn from them and pull stuff from them. Just like you would if you were looking at someone else's experience. That's almost like the beauty of it, is like, just like you can read a story about another person and be like, wow, they should have done this, or oh wow, I bet they didn't think about it like this, like that was actually a really good way that worked out for them because this thing happened later. Like just like you're looking at someone else's story because you don't have emotion, because you weren't the person
Hmm.
in the experience. It's like the same thing with your own. You get to look at your own experiences and actually pull really valuable gems out of it, because you're not so like emotionally wrapped up in it and still haven't felt the feelings from the experience.
Yeah. Completely agree with everything you just said.
So okay, so this awakening, like when you said 8 years ago, was that when this awakening thing happened, or was that along the timeline of just you having decided I didn't want to do this and following stuff?
Yeah, no. I mean, it really started because I grew up religious, not believing reincarnation. So it started with like synchronicities happening and looking into reincarnation and doing
Okay.
like past life regressions.
Oh,
And
you
then
did that.
getting into, yeah,
Okay.
like I said, I spent some money on doing
I
different
know. I want
things.
to hear all about
Yeah.
it though. Yeah. No, please. Sorry. Continue your thought, but I have questions.
And then, yeah, just getting into different teachers. And then I guess this experience that happened. Ooh, see, I can't. Since that time doesn't feel the same anymore. It was
Hmm.
2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
I
You're
can't
saying this
point.
awakening thing. It was like 2 or 3
Hmm.
years. Okay. Interesting. So a couple things about what you said. Um, the because you mentioned the past life regression stuff. I'm interested to hear about that. There was something else you said though that sparked my interest. let's just start with the past life stuff, and maybe the other thing will pop into my head. Um, because you said you were just like exploring different things. Oh no, sorry. You mentioned that you were raised religious. What religion?
Hmm. Mormon, LDS.
Oh, okay, interesting. So I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and
Okay.
well, it's funny. You just nodded. I'm like, yep. I feel like everyone I meet who grew up Mormon and like knows Jehovah's Witnesses, and same thing, vice versa.
Yeah.
And it's just like I always say, it's like Coke and Pepsi. Like it's just very very similar. So you know then. Okay, so we had similar experiences because that was how it was for me. Was that I was raised very religious, and um, I eventually like here's what I'll say. It's like my whole life I was so curious. Like I've always been such a curious person. And there were always things about the religion and what I was taught that like didn't make sense to me. And now looking back, I'm like, it was inevitable that I was gonna leave that religion eventually. Like there was just no way I wasn't. You know what I mean? Like I just was too curious. Like there was no way that you were about to just not give me an answer and I'm supposed to not live with the answer my whole life. Like no, it's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? Especially when it wasn't just one thing. It's like a series of things that it's just like, that doesn't make sense. And you're just supposed to accept it. You're like, no, I can't do that. Sorry, I just can't, you know? Of
I
course I did for 30
remember,
years,
yeah,
but you know,
yeah. I remember being in church when I was younger. I don't know how old I was. Obviously, probably around 12, 8 to 12, where I would sit there and listen to people and actually be jealous of the beliefs that they had.
mm,
Like I remember thinking like, why don't I believe any of this? Like
mm,
almost thinking like, is there something wrong? So like from a very young age, and same as you, once I got older, I was like, yeah, there was no like I was meant to end up where I am today.
yeah, yeah.
And those experiences, I think, I mean, I never regret experiences. So they like shaped kind of who I became today.
Yep, that's exactly how I feel. Um, and I think, just in case there's anyone listening who is Mormon or
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witness,
Yes.
like there's no judgment whatsoever. And to be honest, I feel like, see, this is the thing of what I was saying about where you come back to just existing. There's really nothing wrong with either any of
I
that.
know.
Like you could be a Mormon your whole life, and that's fine. You can be Jehovah's Witness your whole life. That honestly, it's fine. Like I don't like. There's no like you shouldn't be. No, like literally, like just exist. Like that's the whole point. So like it's totally fine. Like whatever someone's doing and listening to this, like I don't care. Like genuinely, it doesn't matter. There's no judgment. And actually, I encourage people like do what feels right to them. And if that's
Yeah.
what feels right, like please do it. Um, that being said, the process was this kind of like, hey, there were beliefs about it that just to me, it just didn't make sense, and there was no like real, true, solid answer. And like I did the digging, I did the research, trying to understand it, and they would have answers. They would provide you with an answer, like, hey, this is the answer, and you're like, that's not good enough. Like that is not a good enough answer for me. And for years, it was just like, well, it's a good enough answer for God, so you should be good. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh damn. And then eventually, I got to a point where I was like, no, this just doesn't make sense to me anymore. And part of it was, well, it's kind of a long story, but I and there were several things I feel like that like were kind of like big things that got tipped over a period of like a couple years, and I think for me, how you were mentioning synchronicities. I think that was one of the actually like the big things for me, because when I was a Jehovah's Witness and I would pray for something and it would happen, I would be like, wow, God answered my prayer, right? And then I left the religion and I would notice some synchronicities as well. And I was like, well, now what's happening? Because I'm not praying. Like, first of all, I'm not praying at all. Second of all, I don't even believe in it at this time, right? And I'm not saying I believe in God, the classic idea of God right now. But my point is, I
Yeah.
didn't believe there was anything else. And I was like, I don't believe in anything. Like, there's nothing. I'm not praying to anybody. I definitely don't believe in God. Like, what is going on? Why is it that there's still these synchronicities to be clear, with things that have nothing to do with God, right? Like, we're not talking like, oh, a Bible verse, right? No, it's like nothing like that. It was like synchronicities in things having to do with like my business or, certain relationships or other parts of my life, right? That just have nothing to do with religion whatsoever. And I think that was one of like the big selling points for me, in the idea that like, wait, there is something else going on here. Like there's more than meets the eye. Like I don't believe, things are just, I don't believe there's just nothing, but I'm like, I know it's not, I know it's not that. Like I was like, I spent 30 years learning about that. I know it's not that. But it is more than just nothing. And that's what's kind of led me to like explore a lot of different things. And I feel like was that similar to like what your path was, than what led you to explore all those different things?
Yeah, I mean, I went through similar, probably 10 years, probably more than that,
Okay.
of just like believing or not believing anything.
Mm.
And I often say I was kind of on autopilot because I was depressed kind of through that time.
Mm.
But just, it just wasn't in my thoughts of like, what is this? What's beyond this? Um, and yeah, synchronicities for me, it was numbers that kept showing up everywhere.
Really?
And makes sense. I'm an engineer. I look at numbers all day.
Okay. Okay. But tell me more. Like what numbers were showing you?
1111 originally. Like I
Okay.
would see it every day. I would even have a thought and I was like, there's no way it's 1111 right now. And I'd laugh to myself and I'd look at the time and it was 1111.
Mm.
So it was like getting pulled to look at things that like had certain numbers to them. So I started looking up meanings of numbers, and then yeah, like hummingbirds and dragonflies. I had dragonflies like fly into our house, multiple dragonflies. Hummingbirds sitting outside a window just staring at me, and yeah, things like that.
I don't know any of the meaning behind any of that. The numbers, the birds, nothing. Tell me about it.
I feel like the 1111 for me was just like, keep going. You're on the right path.
Mm.
And now that I think about it, it's like, well, is anybody not on the right path? What does that mean?
True.
And then the dragonflies was like a sign of like change. And each
Mm.
time the hummingbird came inside, there was a big change that happened. I can't remember what it was.
Mm.
And hummingbirds kind of are known to be more like, I'll say the other side in quotes, coming to you to like almost give a message.
Okay.
But through that time, like the numbers, I would set a intention or like a question, like, what do I do in this situation? And then I'd wait for a repeating number to come. And then I'd look up what that number meant. And there were times where like I would laugh out loud or even cry at like what it meant.
Yeah.
So I just kind of like allowed life to guide me.
Interesting. Okay. I just had this thought when you were describing this number thing. Well, first of all, actually, I wanted to say that I live in Arizona and there's like hummingbirds all over the place here. I'm just mentioning it because I've heard people say stuff about Arizona, just that like there's something about it that's like special. And so it's kind of funny you say that, because it does. I feel like every time we go outside for a walk, there's hummingbirds around. But the other thing I was going to comment on was like the numbers. There's this. I think you can understand for me that I've gotten to a point where I'm like, there's some things I'm pretty confident about when it comes to what I believe is the nature of reality, but I'm also still open to being wrong and just saying I don't know, because yeah, I just feel like I don't feel like there's any way to ever actually know. And even if you have an experience, a personal experience, like who's to say that that's a real experience or anything like that, right? Like for me, I'm always just like, yes, like even if I am super confident, it's never going to be above 99.99, right? Like that's just always the max, because there's always a chance that I don't know. But the one theory I heard recently was how, well, actually I was just thinking about this, was that I was telling my wife this because she was raised as a Jehovah's Witness as well, and we didn't believe in like predestination or like having just that things were predestined. Like we didn't believe that. It was like you have free will and that's it. And what's interesting to think, because you were saying like, well, is anyone on the wrong path? I was thinking, oh, that's interesting. Like if we do come here and we do have a preset path, but we're worried about whether or not we're on the right path, it would have to be something really small that like doesn't affect the outcome that to remind us that we are on the path. You get what I'm saying? Like you can't have someone
Yeah.
come to you and be like, I'm from the other side and you are on the right path and you chose it's like, oh, that would screw everything up. You know what I mean? Like, no. It's like it would have to be something little that you would recognize because it would catch your attention because it's something out of place, but also not something that would just drastically disturb the path that you're on, but it would just be like a little reminder. And it's funny you say that because I was talking to my dad. I talk to my dad all the time, but that was a conversation I had with him not that long ago where it was like, when there's like little synchronicities that happen in my life now, it's what it feels like. It feels like it's just like a little like, yep, keep going. You're on the right path. Like keep doing what you're doing. This is the right way to go,
Yeah. I mean, it's when you said like that the things that you believe are true, even 99.99%, there's still a slight percent that isn't true. And yeah, it's so hard because we can say all these things, but in the end, it's just words that are coming out. It's like, what is truly true other than I'm here? I am in this moment. Um, and yeah, I often say, like, that this moment is exactly how it should be because it is.
Mm.
It would be different if it should have been a different way.
Mm. Well, and to say
And
it, whether it should or shouldn't be is again like taking yourself out of this moment. You might have heard me say this before, but I feel like I say this often is that like in this moment, there's nothing you need. If you are here and you are existing in this moment, then there is nothing you need. Even if you're like, I feel hungry, you're like, yeah, but you're here. So therefore you don't need food, right? You are here in this moment. And like, yes, in the future, you might need food because you are hungry right now, but you're not dead, right? But like if you're here, and so the hunger is just one example because there's all these different factors. Someone could say, well, but my rent is due and I don't have the money for it. It's like, okay, but you're here, right? Like in this exact moment, there's nothing that you need. And no matter what your situation is, because if there was something that you actually needed, and if you didn't have it, you'd be dead. Well, then you'd be dead. You wouldn't be in this moment. You get what I'm saying? Like it's a very like bare bones way of looking at it, but it is true. And if that is true, then it kind of means that you don't need anything ever, because everything that you supposedly need is either in the future or already happened. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, and now people be like, well, but you have to plan because eventually you're going to need food. I'm like, I'm not saying that that's not true. What I'm saying is that as long as you are conscious and alive, you can take any moment that you're in and realize that you don't need anything and just exist in that moment.
yeah. Yeah, I just love this conversation.
Okay, I want to hear about the past life regression thing because I read that book, Many Lives, Many Masters.
Oh, I haven't read that one.
Really? Oh my gosh! Wow. Okay,
No.
so that's so funny because I thought that was like the book about past life regression. That was why I read it. That's so funny. It's a really interesting book. It was written by, I believe, like a psychologist who
Mm-hmm.
had. I mean, it was written a long time ago. I have it lying around here somewhere. Um, it might have been written in like the 90s or the 80s or something like that. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I say old as in like it's probably pre 2000s. And he's talking about his experience with a patient where they would do like that type of therapy where like they take you back to your childhood
Mm-hmm.
and like you relive the memory. And he was doing it with his patient, and then he was like, let's go a little further back, a little further back. And he went like too far back, supposedly, and she was like a different person. And he was like, wait, what the heck just happened? Right? Okay, get out of it. Right. And so like, but then he kept doing that where he would hypnotize his patient and take them back, and he just took them a little bit too far back, and they would be they would be a different person. And you're like, what the heck is going on here? And that's kind of like the whole point of the book, is that it's him. It's a true story, right? It's him recounting
Mm-hmm.
his experience with this one specific patient where he did that with her, and he's explaining like what happened in their sessions, and what this person's past lives looked like. And there were some really interesting things about it. I want to hear about your experience, but a couple of things that were of note to me when I was reading this book was like how he had talked not just her experience, but in other people's experiences as well, that it was like, oh, this person like always had this, pain in like the top right part of their back or whatever. And then they did this past life regression thing. And it was like, they died from someone, with a bow and arrow, and it shot them in the top of the back, right in that spot. And you're like, what? But like just having, what's interesting was that just having done that regression where they saw that's what happened, the pain was gone. The person always had the pain their whole life, and then it's just gone. And you're like, okay, that's crazy. And of course, all these things are just anecdotal, right? It's not like
Yeah.
double blind placebo stuff. But it's interesting, right? It's interesting when you hear those experiences and you're like, wow, that's so cool. And there was another one that stood out to me that was, I want to say it was a husband and wife, and they had like a terrible relationship. Like they were always fighting or something like that. And they did like one of them did like the past life regression thing. And in one of their past lives, they were actually brothers. So they were like different gender. It was like two boys. And they like fought each other constantly. And like one of them killed the other one or something like that. And it was like, but they're the same souls supposedly in these two. And that's why I was like, oh, there was like this unfinished business between them, because in this past life, one of them, I don't know. It's weird stuff where you're like, okay, I could see someone who doesn't believe in anything being like, your brain made up this story to, account for the pain in your back and to account for this and try to make sense of it. And when you shone a spotlight on it, that, resolved it. Okay, fine. Maybe, right? Maybe
Yeah.
that's true. But it's still pretty interesting otherwise. So I'm curious to hear what your story is.
Well, this wasn't really a past life regression, but I did have kind of a session with a psychic in a sense, which I've always been obsessed with them since I was very young.
Really?
Um, and she would kind of explain a past life and something that you maybe need to learn from still. And
Mm,
so since I was young, I'd have dreams, nightmares of my house burning down.
okay.
And even had this situation in an old house where I woke up one night. My husband was out of town. I was with my young kids at the time. And I woke up from a horrible dream of like we lived behind an orchard. The orchard was on fire. And like we had to figure out how to get out of the house. The following night, I woke up to our fire alarm going off. And my husband was still out of town. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's coming true. And I like go to the door, touch the door. My door was shut and it was cold. And I was like, okay. I opened the door. There was nothing. It was a false alarm of the fire alarm going off
What?
at 2 a.m. Yes.
Okay, that's crazy.
But anyway, so I think it was probably a year later. I talked to this woman and she was like, so in a past life, you died in a fire. And she was like, do you have like issues with fire? And I'm like, yeah, I've dreamt of like fires in my house since I could remember as a young kid. She's like,
Wow.
oh, don't worry, you won't die of a fire. Usually you don't die in the same way as a past life. And since then, not a single dream of dying it or fire.
Really? Oh. If you've ever thought about writing a book, Peaceful Profits can help you go from idea to published author, and even position your book to become a bestseller. Go to howtobeaperson.co and click Peaceful Profits Author Resource to get more information now. Okay, so I mean, obviously, I'm going to ask, like, so, like, she didn't know anything about you before she said that. She just mentioned the fire thing, and oh, okay,
Yeah.
interesting. And you said that for years you'd been having these dreams about fires, and then it just went away.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, that's
Like since I
interesting.
was probably, I don't remember much when from my childhood, but I'd say at least since like 7.
Okay, okay, I have a question about that because I'm my wife and I are very similar. Like, I don't remember much from my childhood either. Like like what you said about maybe like 7 or 8. That's like what I
Mm-hmm.
remember. And some people are like, I remember when I was like 3. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? I don't remember. Like, I barely remember when I was like 7. But do you know anything about, like, do you know why that is?
No, I mean, I've tried to look into it and it's like, oh, maybe a traumatic experience where you just tried to block things out. But in general, I just don't have a good memory.
Oh, okay.
And I
I say the
don't,
same thing, to be honest, about my memory as well. So, like, maybe it's just a memory thing. But you know what's funny is I didn't realize, okay, when I talk about like living in this moment, I actually didn't realize how much I was already doing that before I even kind of went down this path. Because, like, I would go to work on, I'd go to work after the weekend on a Monday, and people would be like, "What'd you do this weekend?" And I was like, "What did I do this weekend?" I don't know. I don't remember. And they'd be like, "What are you talking about? You just the weekend." And it wasn't just, to me, I don't think it was, it's just because, oh, I have a bad memory. I actually think I have a really good memory. Like, I'm really good at remembering certain numbers and stuff. Like, and if I have to
yeah.
remember something, I'm really good at it. But it's almost as if it's like, who cares? What do you mean what happened this weekend? The weekend's gone. Like, we live right now. Like, we're living right now. What it matters what happened in the past? It's like it's gone already. And I didn't realize that at the moment. At the moment, I was just like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I remember what I did
Yeah.
over the weekend? And my coworkers would be like, dude, was it that crazy of a weekend? I'm like, I don't do anything. I don't drink and do drugs. Like, I literally just don't remember. I'm like, what did I do those days? It's kind of funny.
Yeah. It seems like you just kind of ended up in where people strive to get to.
Hmm.
There's a book by Adyashanti. I think it's called The End of Your World or something. So it's kind of about like post awakening, like post kind of realizing just what everything is. And he mentions like the memory aspect. It's like it happened and you don't hold on to things anymore.
Hmm.
So, like, unless, and when you're asked things, you can go back and recall things, but you're not holding on to past experiences anymore and like holding on
Interesting.
to like what even happened yesterday.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's probably similar to you. I go through life where I'm like, oh, what happened today? I don't know. And it's like,
Hmm.
I'll recount what happened, but in that moment, I'm just not, I guess, worried about things like I used to be.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point because it's almost as if I go through the day, like, I can replay it and like go through oh yeah, this happened and then this happened and then this happened. But it seems like other people, when you're like, "What'd you do yesterday?" They just have an answer at the top of their, like, right at the
Yeah.
tip, they're just ready to go. Oh well, this thing happened and oh it was crazy because of this and oh blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Why yesterday? Okay, well today is Friday. Yesterday was Thursday. Thursdays I normally. Oh yeah, yeah. I did this and then I did this. Like, it takes me a while to like remember. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's,
yeah. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't even know. I mean, I think it's so much easier. Like there's actually I was going to mention this earlier, kind of the free will aspect. Um my idea around free will is that it comes down to how much we can accept this moment as it is. Free will is, I wrote this down once now, I can't remember. It comes down to your reaction to life.
Mm,
And so life's happening through us, and our own reaction to life is what free will is.
mm. Yeah, because it's. I feel like there is this illusion that we have control or even influence over our life. And it's funny because to a certain extent, it does feel like that, right? It does feel like that is the case. But if you think about it, no matter what you do, you are always bringing yourself to something that is already existing, right? Like, even if it's like, hey, like I want to make a bunch of money, so I'm going to make a bunch of cold calls. Okay, that's fine. But like, also understand, like, that already exists. The phone exists. Those people exist that you're calling. Their days are
Mm-hmm.
going, and like you're going to be talking to them and they're going to say something to you. Like, all of that is just something that already existed. And so it's not like you're never actually like putting something into motion. It's like you are just bringing yourself to things that already exist and then essentially reacting to those things.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I mean, similar back to the dream idea. Like we kind of experience dreams, and I guess unless you lucid dream, you're not kind of, it's more of an experience rather than you deciding what's happening in the dream.
Mm. And that's kind of like the point almost, you know? Like, so with dreams, I feel like we're like, oh, I wish I could control that experience. But like, how many things experiences do we put ourselves into specifically to not know how it's going to go, right? Like, we watch movies that are like suspenseful and like we don't know what's going to happen next. And that's what we love about it. Like, a movie that is predictable is not a good movie, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing, like I was saying before, like with the video games. It's like, you go to play the video game. If you just like, there's sometimes that games will have like cheat codes or like stuff where you just like can beat everyone. Like, you just stop playing because you're like, oh, this is pointless. I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to go and I'm just going to, and then they're done. Um, so it's almost like, yeah, I mean, it's so funny because growing up the way I grew up, and then eventually, because I feel like you would relate to this, right? Like, you grew up this way, like believing something, and then you separated yourself from it, and at that moment, you were like, oh, I know better. Like, I live in the
Yeah.
real world now. Right? I don't believe in that stupid stuff that just all these gullible people believe. Right? I don't feel that way anymore. But there was a time where I
Yeah.
felt like that. Um, and then now I get to this point where I'm like, because I have all these ideas and like these thoughts of like what reality is, and you go, well, now I'm looking at it through the lens of another, practical person, right? Who's going to be like, but that doesn't make sense, or but that doesn't make sense. And my point is just that I like exploring these things and then having something to compare it to, because it does make it seem like, what, that actually does kind of make sense, like the whole like movie thing, right? If I was going to, and I think actually a video game is a better one, right? Because you go into a video game, you basically know what's going to happen, you know what the outcome is going to be, you get to play it, and if you're really into it, like, you kind of can disconnect from the world around you and just exist in the game and have emotional reaction to it and all those things. But you also know, hey, no matter what happens, it's fine. It's just a video game. But also, I want it to be unpredictable, right? Like, when you have an analogy like that you can compare life to, and like that makes so much sense. You go, you know what? Like, I think life could be that. Like, actual real life could be like this, like a video game. Um, and then if you carry that forward and you think about how you play a video game, there's certain things that we do now that don't make sense, right? You're like, let's say that was true. Let's say it was true that we were in a video game. What are we doing worrying about the future? What are we doing caught up in the past? Like, you can't play a video game well if you're thinking about the previous level that you just finished, or if you're worried about what the next level is going to be. You have to exist in the moment, especially, in a game when it's like someone's going to kill you if you're not paying attention or whatever. So it's not exactly the same, but you get what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. It, yeah. Notice the thought patterns that come up is what I always suggest.
What do you mean?
Like, notice what happens to your body when you stress about the past
Mm,
or have anxiety over the future. Our reality is in our head.
mm. Oh, I see what you're saying. Because you put yourself, like, I see what you're saying. Like, you in your own thoughts put yourself in the past or into the future, and then you
Mm-hmm.
feel it in your body. just as if you were in that moment. So that in
Yeah.
itself is like proof that it's like we're essentially creating the experience that we're having. Interesting. Very interesting. You know what I was thinking about, by the way, before when we were talking about memories, I was thinking about taking pictures. I recently I saw someone was talking about how because we're always taking pictures, that like we don't have as good of a memory because it's almost like we
Mm.
know we don't have to store it because we know it's being stored in the phone. So I thought that was just kind of an interesting thought, right? To like maybe we don't need
Yeah.
to take as many pictures, right? We can keep it in our own heads. Um, but it also has me thinking about just in general, like why do we take pictures at all? You know, it's like we're trying to. It's like almost as if we're trying to hold on to the
Hmm.
past, because here I am talking about how I don't think about the past, but I've got my Google Photos for the last year, and then the Google's like on this day 3 years ago, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, you know what I mean. So if anything, I do value that because I feel like I would never think. I would honestly, I feel like 99% of the stuff I've experienced I would forget if I didn't see it in Google
Yeah.
Photos. I'm not even kidding. Sometimes it shows me stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, I would have never thought about that ever again if Google Photos did not just show that to me. Like I would have completely forgotten, which makes me think, oh my god, how many things did I experience before Google Photos that I've now forgotten?
Yeah, well, I think back to like college and I'm like, ooh, I'm glad I didn't have like we had digital cameras that then we'd print
Yeah,
pictures,
yeah.
but I don't, yeah, that time in your life where like you have some memories, but
Mm.
it would have been documented a lot more if we had
Yeah,
phones. But
yeah.
maybe I didn't want that.
Well, but that's what I'm trying to say is that it's kind of interesting. Is like, do we actually want to be doing that? Like, of
Yeah.
course, like I said, I enjoy that experience when it shows me what happened a few years ago today. You know, I go, oh, that's great. And I can reminisce. But it's like, is there a certain, I'm saying like speaking, like energetically speaking, right? Like constantly, oh, I got to take a picture of this, take a picture of this, take a picture of this. Is like, is there something about that that's like holding us back, right? Because I mean, like literally holding us back because we're like we're trying to document the things that happened in the past. As soon as you snap the picture, what happened was in the past. It's kind of crazy to think about. You know what I mean? It's like you're like trying to
Yeah.
freeze that moment in time instead of just being there and being able to appreciate that moment while you're in it, and then being able to just let it go. Because that's the part that's hard, right? When I think of like, okay, I think about Google Photos, right? And there was I forgot what it was about, but like people were saying how like Google had just deleted all of their stuff. Like they got locked out of Google for some reason, and they had nothing, right? No access to their email, no access to their photos and stuff. And I was like, oh my god, if that happened to me, that would be crazy. Like oh my god, that's where all my photos are, right? Um, and now I'm kind of like, well, I hope it happens. No, but you know what I mean. I'm like, man, maybe there is something to that. That it's like we're, yeah, I don't know. You know, like I feel like over time we've gotten like society is kind of in this moment where I feel like, first of all, I feel like there's a lot of people like you and I that are like kind of moving in this certain direction. But I think
Hmm.
also the environment itself, like the environment that we're in, seems to be one that like is very disconnected from who we really are, right? And like who you get what I'm saying. Um, and I'm thinking about the idea of taking photos is like, man, is that another part of this, right? That like, uh, it's okay, right? Like, I think a good example is like, I live in a house, okay? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're talking over, Zoom, right? We have a video chat. Like, I love, there's certain things that about, the year that we live in that I love, um, and that I appreciate very much. But also at the same time, I can recognize that even those aspects, but also other aspects, right, have disconnected us from like our actual nature. I was just reading something about fasting, and they were talking about in addition to fasting, doing like sauna and cold plunge and all that stuff. And it was talking about why we need that, and it was saying how like we live, like most of us live at like 72 degrees all the time, right? All the time. When it's like our bodies we're meant to experience the extremes of like the hot and the cold. And because we don't, it's like there's a lot of things in our body. It's almost like you think about your muscles, right? Like if you stop, most people know if you stop using your muscles, they will atrophy. Okay, supposedly it's the same system in our body, right? That we're talking about, like heat and cold. It's like if you don't experience those extremes, you just live in this basic middle ground where you just always live in 72 degrees because you're in air conditioning all the time, then you lose that part of your body. Like just like your muscles atrophy, that whatever that mechanism is atrophies as well, and that has like a downstream effect for the rest of your body, just like it would be if any of your one of your muscles atrophy. So anyway, I'm saying all this to say that like there are parts of our life that even though I can have an appreciation for it, I love living in air conditioning, especially because I'm in Arizona. I can also acknowledge that, hey, wait a second, maybe that is disconnecting me to a certain extent from, the most natural way of being. Does that mean I'm going to go live outside? No. But again, I'm mentioning this because of the Google Photos thing, right? I'm thinking, oh, I appreciate being able to look back on these pictures. I love that I'm able to document things. I love looking at pictures of my son, right? Like seeing how much he's changed since he was born. But also is there something about photos as well that is doing that? Like, just like I never thought about that temperature thing until I read that in the book. And I was like, oh my God, I never thought of that. Right. And this person has like quantified it, written it in a book, and explained the mechanism and why this is a problem. And it's like, I wonder if there's other things that we're doing that we just haven't been able to quantify yet and put into words that is having a downstream effect that is unintended. And I think maybe, I know it seems silly, but maybe photos is something like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about photos, I stopped taking a lot of pictures. I got off of social media for a few years, and you start to realize like, oh, I was only taking pictures to really like document and share them.
Mm,
I know that's not everyone's situation, but even now, like if I'm at a very like beautiful location and you're like taking it in, and then you're like, oh, I need to take a picture of this. But then why? It's like you think you're going to look at the picture later and have that same feeling. It's like you
mm,
want to
mm,
hold on to that feeling that you have. In reality, that doesn't happen.
mm,
Or you want to share it so other people can feel that same feeling, but that's not the reality either.
mm.
It's just something pretty to look at. But it's
Yeah.
kind
And
of
nobody
like
else can actually
wanting,
have that experience unless they go
yeah,
with you.
so it's like for me, it's just noticing, like I'll pull out my phone and I'm like, oh, why am I doing this? And it's not like I stop myself from taking a picture. It's more just the awareness of what's happening,
Yeah.
is what I often tell people is just noticing those things that you do and why.
Mm.
So,
Yeah. I'm excited about the time that we live in. I think there's a lot of like pessimism, and I say, what's the word? Because like you say like positivity and pessimism, but I'm talking
mhm.
about optimism. Like you look to the future that things are going to be better. I don't know what the opposite of that is. I say pessimistic, but doesn't feel like the right word. But it's more like like you have a negative view of what the future is going to be. Like I think that is like common for a lot of people right now. They feel like, oh my
Yeah.
God, what's going to happen? The world's going to shit. Like this is terrible. And I'm like, I see what you're saying. Like I get it. I understand why people see that, but I also am like super excited because I just feel like I feel like there's so many people like kind of moving in the same direction that you and I are talking about. And like, I feel like we're really getting to this point where we're just starting to become aware of so many more things, right? Again, I use that example of like the temperature difference. That to me is something I never thought of. I never would have even considered that was a problem,
Mm,
right? Like ever. And to see that and you go, wow, okay, so what are the other things? And I wonder like what those things are and if we're going to become aware of it, and like what's going to change as a society as we do become aware of those things. And even a lot of the things that we're talking about when you talk about like the past life regression thing, or um, anything having to do with like the actual nature of reality, it feels like a lot of these things are also going to be and are already starting to be like proven. Not necessarily the past life thing, maybe, I don't know. But I just mean like there's things that like previously were considered like very woo woo. And now they're like, oh no, like this is scientifically proven. So I'm excited about that. I feel like we're kind of, as a society like moving in the right direction when it comes to those things.
Yeah, I often say that we're almost going backwards in a sense, I think.
Yeah.
Like going back towards the hunter gatherer time. Like we tried all these things and thought that that was going to make us so much better, so much happier, but it kind of made things worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's like we were talking about before of like existing in the moment, right? That
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're kind of going back to being a kid. Is like you go and you have these experiences and you think you know everything and you're trying to, but then you start realizing, wait a minute, I don't know everything. And you start exploring and you go, oh, I see. I don't need to make everything the way I think it should be. I just have to appreciate it the way it is and exist, which is
Mm-hmm.
back to you being a kid, And I think that I
Yeah.
agree with you actually. Now that you say that, it's a good way to put it, that like, I think that just that same experience that you and I have had, I think that is what is happening to humanity as a whole. It's like we're kind of on this like part where we're over here and then we realize, oh, I see. We need
Yeah.
to go back to this.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's going to look like, but I think it's exciting to be a part of it.
I know. Yeah. I Fear of the future is such a strong emotion that people have.
Mm.
And yeah, I guess I just don't have that in me
Mm.
because I don't even know if I'll be there for that.
Yep. I only know I'm here right now. I don't know if I'll even be here
Yep,
tomorrow. So,
exactly.
um, so Sarah, how do you help people? Like, what exactly do you do now?
I mean, I've struggled labeling myself. I had someone ask me, like, what do you want to be called? Life coach, mentor? And I don't think I care about the labels. I just
Mm.
help people to kind of notice their thoughts, their attachments to things, and kind of, I guess, wake up to the present moment and that
Mm.
happiness happens here, not somewhere in the future.
Mm. So
Um,
who would come to you? Like, who would be someone that you'd be like, oh yeah, that person's perfect.
yeah, I'm someone who has done all the right things and is still like they know that there's more.
Mm.
They know that there's more out of life than what society has made us believe.
Mm.
Um, a lot of times have gone through therapy and kind of feeling stagnant in therapy.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I allow people to express. I often have people tell me, like, I don't know why I just shared that. I've never shared it. Um, so yeah, people who know that like there's more, but just don't know how to, I guess, get there. Um, and want more happiness in their life, get out of their head a little bit.
Okay. So if someone wants to work with you, how do they connect with you?
Yeah, I my website is livingfullywithsarah.com, Sarah with an H. Had someone else say that. I forgot that. I should clarify that. And then on Instagram, living fully period with Sarah.
Awesome. Sarah, this has been a great conversation. I really, really appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, it's been fun. I really appreciate it.
All right. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Thanks for being here. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review or share it with someone who'd appreciate it. For everything I have to offer, visit howtobeaperson.co.